Shedeur Sanders drops from projected top 10 pick, projected number 2 quarterback in the NFL draft, drops all the way to round 5, pick 144. Thoughts? B, start us off.
But to be honest, bro, wasn't he top 2 on a lot of people's boards? Wasn't he like a top 2 quarterback?
The majority of draft experts had him projected number 2 behind Cam Ward. There was one, I think Mel Kiper last minute had Shador 1 for QBs.
Wow.
But most draft experts had him at number 2 for the quarterback. They were thinking top 10, but let's get it. I mean, they definitely didn't think he was going to drop past the first round. Let's put it that way.
All right, so obviously a lot of teams, some teams don't need a quarterback, so excusing them. But to me, the teams that needed a quarterback, I just don't understand how you don't take him earlier. Like, what did he do in this draft process? What did he do during the season, like that you saw on film, that warranted him being drafted that low and sinking that low? Like,
let me intersect here. I think nothing on the field. He has all the tangibles on the field that you could imagine. He has the talent, the accuracy, the pocket presence. It's just, I think those interviews really rubbed the owners the wrong way. I think it was what Dion said in the press, rubbed them the wrong way. Dion goes, if we see a team that we don't like, we're not going there. Basically trying to what Eli Manning's father said about the Mannings. They're like, oh, we're gonna not play here, X, Y, and Z. So now that Dion did it, people see it as a problem. So I think the owners they kind of had like some consortium where they were like, hey, we're not drafting this dude until the third day.
So do you think it was a collective effort in that way to where they all were like,
because you trade up from the Giants, you trade up back to the first round to draft Dort over Shador, which Dort is cool. I'm not tripping on that. But then all these teams
at what pick were you guys like, oh nah, this is crazy at this point? I'll tell
once
you.
Once the Saints ain't take him.
Once the Saints didn't take him
in
the second round.
In the first round.
In the first round?
Yes.
What pick was that?
That was the 9th pick.
Ninth pick.
I'm like, yo, wait a second. There's no clear cut. Derek Carr isn't the answer. The backup quarterback.
Rattler.
That's what I'm saying.
Rattler's not
the answer. And I'm like
Rattler, but he's so young. And Shedeur. Yeah, I agree on this. The Saints needed a quarterback.
There's a bunch of weapons in New Orleans right now that Shedeur could come in and be comfortable. They have a decent enough offensive line. That's the issues you had back in Colorado, and he still had the record for completion percentage with a bad line in Colorado. Whether you want to say it was dump offs in the flat or quick slants, whatever the case may be, he was still getting the ball delivered. The Saints needed a QB, didn't draft him. I'm like, okay, something's going on. That's what I was like.
So your guys like less than 5-word reaction. B, what was your like? Give me a real authentic reaction to what it was, or how you felt watching the draft.
What the fuck is going on?
So you were pissed. So what about you? Were you pissed as well?
I was so confused because this is the first time I ever watched a draft from all 3 days. Like the NFL, they finessed me. I watched every single pick for all 3 days. So I was like, when is he gonna go?
That's
because
what
it was the 21st pick, the Steelers.
Okay, the Steelers when they went dart.
No. Steelers didn't go dart.
Or Giants, I'm sorry, right? The Giants went dart. They went Harmon D tackle. Yes,
correct. And that's why I was like, they need a quarterback. But then I'm thinking Aaron Rodgers has them in a little noogie right there. Like, hey yo, hold on for real quick. So I think Aaron Rodgers is waiting off to see if they do in the draft before he commits.
Yeah, and they also have Justin Fields.
No, Justin Fields on the Jets now.
He's to the Jets now. So
they
who's
have
their
no
backup?
Quarterback. It's Mason Rudolph.
I think Mason Rudolph came back.
Yeah, it's Mason Rudolph.
And he's not like he's a backup. Don't get me wrong on any team in the NFL, but if you have an opportunity to get somebody with a higher ceiling, we've already seen Rudolph's ceiling. Yeah. So it's like, why? Let's try to take a shot here. So for me, this is my breakdown for it. On one side of the spectrum, I think there's a lot of people jumping in that maybe didn't watch a lot of college football, or maybe don't know how to evaluate college football and don't maybe have a good feel for it. One side of the spectrum, people jump into the conversations. He should have been this. He's like, he might have been a little bit overhyped, quote unquote, to one side of the spectrum of people because of his popularity. And then there's another side of the spectrum where people just want to see him continue to drop and they're just haters. Shedeur
Yeah.
haters. You know what I mean? I lay somewhere in the middle of I could see why he was dropping to the early second round because when the Steelers passed on him, I was like, okay, I kind of get it. When they took Dart over Shador, I wasn't super shocked. Jackson
Yeah.
Dart is really, really good. He played in the SEC. He had 30 touchdowns in the SEC. He's really good, and he has tangibles. That's the thing about the NFL draft. The way they evaluate from going to college to pro, and this is in basketball too. It's so much about the tangibles, your arm strength, everything. The measurables become way more important. And if you just go by the measurables for Dart versus Shador, it's not crazy. It's not crazy that he got drafted before necessarily. Now, some people get it wrong. Shador could be a better pro, but I'm just saying it's not like when it got crazy for me was when he didn't go in the second and then he dropped in the third round and it was like, all right, this is too far. He's sliding at this point. And then they go Dylan Gabriel, who is really good as well. A really good college player, I should say, but it's like something went wrong in this process. Clearly.
No,
There's something else.
You're missing the what's it called? The Tyler Shuff?
Tyler Shook. He went before Dylan even.
No, he was the third QB off the board.
Yeah, he went before
the
Dylan.
Saints.
He was second round, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if I'm Shador, I see that, I'm like, you taking a dude who's been in college for 6+ years.
Yeah.
Or 6 years, whatever. I think it's like 6 years. And he wasn't really dominant. Like when I saw Dort, I saw Cam Ward, I said, okay, you know what? I could take those. But when I saw Tyler Shook, is it Shook? How you say his name?
It's like it's spelled Shough. So
Right.
I'm not exactly sure.
But when I saw that,
Yeah.
now I said, okay, bet. I said they're coming together and they're saying we're gonna take from his pockets because you think first round you go from that 48 million is number one pick, 48 million 4 years, and then that ninth pick would have had him around like 16 million for 4 years, and then it was dropping down. But then now he's in a ballpark of like 4 million for 4 years. He got more NIL evaluation for 1 year.
Trying to play the devil's advocate, do you guys see in any way what, like, let's say it was a genuine process and he genuinely dropped that far. Let's take out of the equation that potentially all the owners were like, we're not drafting him, we don't like his personality. Let's take that away for a second. Just football wise, do you guys see validity to any of the question marks that people may have from a football's perspective?
See, and my thing is, if I'm looking at it from a pure scout perspective, maybe they just don't view him as generational to draft him that high because they, like Sel said, they've been guys that like, yo, I'm not going here if you draft me here. Like Bo Jackson. And there were not Bo Jackson. It was another situation. I forgot his name. And they still drafted him number one. They didn't care what he was talking about. So maybe they don't view him as a guy that's going to change a franchise around within those first few years the way they may view a Cam Ward or a Dart. You know what I'm saying? So it could be like that. And then also the Browns taking him to me is still good because the best situation for Shador because it's like, okay, Deshaun Watson, torn Achilles. You got who's the backup quarterback for the Browns right now? Joe Flacco, old as hell.
Flacco's almost out. They just drafted Gabriel. He should win the battle between him and Gabriel. So now, it's still a great spot.
So now that's a great defense in Cleveland. They got some weapons in Cleveland. So now you got a chance to really go into a situation where you battling with another rookie quarterback for a spot. So it's low-key a blessing in disguise.
It really is. And it's a blessing to me when he didn't go to Pittsburgh because I'm telling you, if he would have went to Pittsburgh, he would have looked terrible. They made Kenny Pickett look really, really bad. He goes to Philly. He looked really good in Philly in the games that he played when Jalen got hurt towards the end of last year. So I agree with you, B. He definitely this is going to be a blessing in disguise, but Cleveland's not the best offensively gifted team, but it's just the fact that he has a chance to get on the field.
You got a good old line, though.
You got a good old line.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
got some sure hands. Got Njoku over there. I think they have a receiver. Cooper left, right?
Judy, I think Judy's still there.
Jared Judy's over there. They got some weapons for him at least.
Yeah.
Who's at the running back
Right.
position for the Browns right now?
They just drafted Ohio State running back.
Yeah. So I mean, as
So
long as
I
he
think
has,
Chubb's a free agent, I think.
as long as he has a good defense,
Travion Henderson.
so he could always rely on that. If he's not playing well, he can rely on the running game and allow the defense to control the game at some point. But
Yeah.
bruh, I just think he has a chance of winning out the spot. So
Right.
that's all you can ask for.
I was hoping that because my team, the Jags, we had several chances to draft him, but he told us he didn't want to visit with us.
Yeah.
So it was like, that could have been the cause of the slide to go so far. You know what I'm saying?
My thing is, I could understand the slide, Mills, but the slide to the fifth round.
No, the fifth round was crazy. But I'm
I've never seen
saying
it.
that here's the thing as well, and this is the way that GMs could potentially be thinking about it, which people are not going to be happy with this explanation. But I'm just kind of saying, like, this is how I think GMs are thinking about it. So, well, first of all, if you tell someone you don't want to meet, that could hinder your chance of getting drafted by them. They could be like, if you don't want to be here, unless you're just that good and that team can use you as leverage and trade bait or whatever they want to do. If you're that good to
Right.
where they do think you're generational, they're going to take you regardless. I will say that. But, you know, with Shedeur, it's like if you draft him and you have like a Trevor Lawrence, I'll do a Jaguars example. If Trevor starts playing bad, and mind you, you've already paid Trevor, so he's locked in right now. If Trevor starts playing bad, Shedor's fan base is so real, they're going to start chanting their name. The media attention ramps up. And I think GMs looked at that as a negative. And I think GMs looked at it as, is his talent worth this media negative attention potential?
Okay. I see where you're going.
So to me, it was like they didn't want to take that on because I think Shedeur is a first round talent. I think he's a first round talent, but I don't know that right now he's like generational necessarily. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you have to outweigh the attention that you're going to, and GMs look at it as like a potential negative attention because it's like, you start to put pressure because if you're not starting, which he's not going to start for a few years probably. Most rookies don't, right?
Yeah.
It's like if you're not starting, the media attention that he is going to bring to a team, is it worth dealing with based on his talent
level
right
of talent
now?
that
And
he has.
they just I don't think GMs evaluated his talent as being worth that. I'm not saying that's necessarily my opinion, but I think that's what GMs are thinking and why he slid.
So
Well, I think.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead,
Sam.
B.
I want to ask y'all, perfect world, where y'all thought he should have been drafted.
I think I see the first round slip. I'm not even tripping off that too much because usually first round, when you draft a quarterback, that's your starting quarterback. Outside the Giants, it was really odd because you have Russell Wilson over there. So I was like, you traded up to get a backup quarterback that you could have gotten in the second round. But anywho, I think for Shedeur, I would have liked to see him go to the Las Vegas Raiders, play behind Geno Smith. That'd be perfect world for me to see that.
Yeah.
But for him to go to Cleveland, where he's going to be fighting for a starting job, and they don't have the best track record for quarterbacks at all. And then going to the Giants, they don't really have the best track record for quarterbacks outside of Eli Manning. So it's like, for me, it's like Saints or it's Raiders.
Yeah.
And
I agree.
open the pass on you multiple times. So then I'll start looking, I'm like, damn. Then it got to the point where I said, once he went past that second round, I said, okay. Then once I saw Milroe and I saw Dylan Gabriel go, I said, okay, bet. Now I see it's more of an objective thing. Like they're trying to make an example of the situation. It's not a race thing at all.
Let's dive into the example thing. What do you mean by that?
Setting an example, like basically saying, I watched his interview, Shador's, when he was at the combine. He was saying, like, if you don't want to change your culture, then don't take me. And then the NFL people were probably like, okay, we're not gonna take you. So I think they took it as literal, like, okay, we can make an example of everything you're saying. And having Dion in the background saying certain things too, they're probably like, we don't want to deal with that, which could be a good and a bad thing. My thing is this: business wise, adding a standards to your team is gonna eat like your team evaluation is going to skyrocket. That's just what's gonna happen. So as a businessman, I'm
marketing,
marketing's huge. So if the fans are cheering Shedeur, okay, cool. They're gonna
Puts
be
butts in
paying
the
to come to
seat.
the games, paying to buying the jerseys. You know what I mean?
He's gonna put butts in the seats, and he's gonna sell a lot of jerseys. He's gonna bring a lot of business. You saw what he did in Colorado. I mean, they broke records within the first week, so there's no doubt of his value, like marketing wise and popularity wise. You know,
well, maybe.
So I think that's a positive,
Yeah.
but it's just like for the NFL GMs, I think they looked at it as more of pressure.
Well, I don't
Like,
get the Cleveland
potential.
Browns though, because you trade back when you could have got Travis, and you could have got your quarterback. So that you trade back. I didn't get what they were doing. I didn't get.
My thing is like you still ended up grabbing him. So like the pressure is still gonna be there regardless. Why? But you took Gabriel before him, so it's like you still ended up taking him. You're still, if you do think that pressure is gonna come to your team, unwanted pressure, you still got him. But now he's just like, I don't know. If I was Shedeur, I was thinking when he got drafted, he's probably like, I'm really mad at y'all still because y'all passed up on me so many times.
Yeah, that's a competitor. That's a
He was
competitor.
their last pick.
Yeah.
Like
But
he did a great job at handling the emotions and, you know, being a professional and dealing with it. But golly, like, you know, emotionally, he was like, y'all passed up on me several rounds and took these guys ahead of me. Like, huge chip on his shoulder.
I will say this before B go too. I watched Antoine Walker talk about it. He gave a really interesting take. He basically said you have to play the game. Play the game, get in, and then, you know what I'm saying, pop your shit.
Right.
And that's sometimes what you got to do in life in general, whether it's a content game, whether it's NBA, NFL. Sometimes you got to play the game a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Talk their language.
Unless you're deemed generational talent. And then they're going to grab you.
He's not generational to me, though.
To me,
he's not generational.
To me, if I'm being honest, right now, he's not.
Yeah, he's not generational.
Well, this quarterback class isn't a generational class. It's next year's class. It's going to be that next year's class is going to be freaking OD. That's why
this year's.
That's why a lot of teams are probably like, wait, let's wait till next year. We're going to be lotto pick anyways. You know, or we're going to be low pick anyways. So we might as well wait till next year.
So if he wins out the spot, in Cleveland, then what? Because
Deshaun Watson's still coming back, and he has guaranteed money, so he's gonna have to play something.
Deshaun Watson is gonna be terrible. He's been terrible his entire tenure. The entire time he's been with Cleveland, he's been horrible.
I think Deshaun's done. I think you gotta move on.
Yeah.
Well, how many years does he have left on his contract?
Ooh,
2 more?
Yeah, they did just pay him.
And then
he's all guaranteed.
He has to go through another process of healing the injury, going through the entire process. And by that time, Shadeur's going to have 17 games under his belt if he wins out the position. And if he's decent, he even doesn't have to be great to win the position win the position against Deshaun. He just has to be decent through 17 games to hold the position.
Can he pick it now?
No.
In Cleveland?
No.
Kenny Pickett's in Cleveland now?
Huh?
Kenny Pickett's in Cleveland now?
Bro, it's Deshaun, Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Dylan Gabriel, and Shedeur. It's 5 QBs right now, bro.
Wow, that's low key.
5 quarterback room.
That's low key a stacked room.
So take out Deshaun, and now it's between Joe Flacco, Kenny, Dylan, and Shedeur. They're gonna probably keep 3. So Shedeur's pretty much fighting with Dylan or Kenny, or you fight with Joe.
Oh man,
who's gonna get bumped to the practice squad? Who's gonna get bumped to the practice squad?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, he can't lose that position in Cleveland. He has to at least become the backup in Cleveland because that's that's already a spot where QBs rot. Like, so it's like terrible. You're gonna rot as the backup quarterback for your first whatever rookie contract. People are gonna forget about you quickly because nobody watches the Browns on national television anyway.
The thing is, Shedeur is really good. He is really good, and
it's a steal if you think about it.
Yeah, it's the most valuable pick of the draft. I mean, they got him in the 5th round, and I do think he's still a first to early 2nd rounder, talent wise.
Yeah,
you know.
Does he get the start position? Give me the chances. Give me the chance he's a starter or backup?
I think he can.
If Shedeur ends up with a starting spot and plays well, I mean, he's going to have an amazing career, but you don't necessarily expect that from I don't necessarily expect that from him right now. You know what I'm saying? I expect him
Yeah,
to
true.
develop. I expect him to develop. If he starts games year 1, that's a great sign.
Yeah.
That's a great sign, and he's developed, but he's got to it's going to
Yeah,
take
same with
time,
Pat
I think.
Mahomes. Pat Mahomes came off the bench too.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers came off the bench. Tom, like you know what I'm saying, all the greats came off the bench.
Those are
I'm not
also
opposed to it.
like
I'm not opposed
those
to
are
it.
also the best quarterbacks we know. You know what I'm saying? Like I go more off of the rest of the guys until you
Phillip Rivers.
prove that you're one of the best quarterbacks ever. I'm not going to assume that Shedeur is going to be one of the best, a top tier quarterback in the NFL.
That's fair.
You know what I'm saying? Like
I don't have him being top tier either, but I think
he
there's,
could.
I
I'm not
I
saying
think there's
he's
a
not
chance
going to be.
I don't think he's going to
Yeah.
be top tier in his career, but I do think he's going to be a solid quarterback. I think he's going to be really good.
Yeah,
I just think
he
the
is
biggest
really
FU
good.
is going to be he has the best 4 years possible. Let's say he plays 2 of the 4. He's due for that contract extension. He just leaves.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? I decide where I go now. That'd be the craziest FU moment.
Yeah. But I could say the same about any other quarterback in the draft. I could say the same thing about Cam Ward. And I think he's phenomenal too. I could
It's
say
just
the
Tennessee
same
doesn't
thing
have
about
the best track record for QBs either.
yeah. I mean,
Vince Young?
great QB.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
My
yeah,
goat.
that's
Great.
that's probably like that's how far we got to go back. Will
Oh
Levis?
no, I'm saying well, Will Levis
Texas.
is new, but he's also really young.
I know, but I'm saying like they already gave up on Will. They said bet Cam.
They don't count.
Well, but that's the thing. Cam has to win that spot too.
That's true.
It's really hard to start as a rookie quarterback. It's really hard. A lot of times the team will try to work you into the league.
But Mills, if you're number 1 and you're getting around 16 million a year, and we got you on the bench behind the guy that we drafted before, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think
Yeah.
he has a really high chance, like a 90% chance of getting that starting job come game 1 over Will Levis.
Yeah, and I think he should start over Will Levis. I'm just saying, like, yeah, I don't know. I think it's just I don't know. I think it's just
Wait.
harder. I think people's expectations are too high too quickly. That's all I'm saying.
And that's
Yeah,
my
I agree,
point.
I agree.
What do y'all think are the expectations of Shedeur being that now he's been drafted so low? The expectations should be low then. The
Yeah, but that's
expectations
the
should
thing.
be come in and whatever you do great, we take it and then we roll with it. It shouldn't
that's the
be
thing, though.
crazy expectations.
People do need a reset. That's why people will end up hating on a rookie. Say Cam Ward has a bad year. Me, I'm not gonna freak out at all because I know how the process works. But so many people would be like, he's a bust, and that's the same thing with Shedeur. My mindset is always let's allow him to continue to develop. I see what he has. He has a lot of special qualities about him as a quarterback that I think can potentially get him to a top 10 QB. But if he gets there, then great. But let's not have too high of expectation. That's where I always lie. Like,
Do you think people had a quick overreaction to how Bryce Young performed?
oh, no doubt.
Definitely.
I mean,
Like they were on his
Definitely.
ass.
in the Bryce Young thing was like, it can be frustrating as a fan because it's like, oh, week after week he was playing really, really bad. And it doesn't help that you don't necessarily see the qualities of your franchise QB in him. He's very short. He's like 5'10", 160 in real life. He's he looks like really small in the pocket. He doesn't have the strongest arm. He doesn't have elite quickness. So as a fan, it's like it's easy to just be like, he's terrible. But like, that's what I'm saying. We just need to give these guys more time. 3 years is something that I'll go by as a
Bryce was
quarterback.
looking really good towards the end of the year too. He was
No,
starting
that's
to figure
what I'm
stuff
saying.
out there towards the end of the year.
He turned a corner, and now all of a sudden he's like their guy that they're really looking forward to next year because he played really well down the stretch.
All right, wait.
Sometimes that's all it takes.
All right, so before we close this segment, Shedeur Sanders, is he a starter this year? What year is he a starter? And if he does start this year, what game?
I think he's a starter. 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 I think he's I think if he starts this year, it'll have to be midway through the season.
Okay.
I don't even project him starting right away. I was
Okay.
just saying he could, but I
Okay.
think it would be like game 9, 10 if he does.
Okay.
But I think he has a way better chance of starting year 2.
Millie.
Yeah. I think my expectations are that he may start some games within the first 2 years if the starting quarterback plays bad and they want to see what he has. Because he don't get my words twisted here. He's very good. And I think he's easily to me a top 3 quarterback in the draft. But I'm not shocked that the guys that got taken over him, it's kind of like Cam Ward was one, and there's a few quarterbacks that like if you take them, I understand it kind of thing. Like the margin is not so big to where I just totally disagree with it. I only thought Cam should have been one, and then the next like 3, or maybe 2, maybe him and Dart. But I would be shocked if he started this coming up year. I would be.
All right, I'm gonna hop off the rail here. Jump off the rail. He starts by game 5.
Wow. All right.
He's gonna go into training camp with a chip on his shoulder. He's gonna outperform everybody, probably except Joe Flacco. And then Joe is gonna start off 1-4, and then Shedeur go out there.
Yeah, if they're losing, they're gonna try something different, and that could be Shador at the 2 if he's the number 2, which I think he probably will be. No Deshaun. He's better than Gabriel. So I think he could be that 2 spot, and if something happens, like you're gonna get a chance throughout the year. So he could definitely see some starts actually.